We'll begin our study of presenting and communicating by studying the fundamentals of informative presentations. This particular set of notes will cover preparing, choosing a topic, and analyzing your audience. In this lesson, you're going to learn why it's important to prepare. It'll help you avoid 3 major challenges. We'll also talk about the first canon of rhetoric, invention, or brainstorming. And I'll tie in how this information will help you prepare your informative podcast. Have you ever thought about how long Martin Luther King took to prepare his landmark I Have a Dream speech? Although it's only 14 minutes long, that speech has resonated throughout our culture and our history, and his words have become synonymous with the way that our country progressed at a particular time, and also indicates that dream that we all have for the future. Would it surprise you to know that Martin Luther King spent years developing the rhetorical ideas that he used in that speech? Powerful, impacting, resonating speech requires diligent preparation. So, why prepare? I think the better question is, why not prepare? Sometimes we let things like time get in the way of preparing, and we leave a little bit too little time for planning and practicing. It's important that you take the 2 weeks you have to develop this informative podcast. Set up a schedule for yourself and spend time each day developing and polishing this informative presentation. Another pitfall is focusing too much time on quantity over quality. It may seem like 2 to 4 minutes of time is a lot to fill, but I promise it goes by very, very quickly. The final pitfall is not following the assignment. I develop very specific assignment instructions. It's important that you read through them carefully and that you address any questions you have with me as soon as they come up. I know a lot of times things may seem crystal clear from the communicator's end, but not be so crystal clear on the receiver's end. So let's get started with this informative presentation, and let's apply the 5 canons of rhetoric. These 5 canons, or best practices, were developed by orator Cicero in the 1st century AD. Cicero was one of the first individuals to actually lay down guidelines and rules for public speech or oration. He developed these 5 canons. They are invention, arrangement, style, memory, and delivery. Let's start with invention. It is important during this phase, when you are choosing a topic and coming up with ideas, that you step outside of the box and get creative. Really think about the kinds of ideas and information that are going to most tap into your audience using the podcast medium. Keep an open mind. Consider all facets of a topic, and be sure to work with the restrictions in the assignment, especially in terms of subject matter and time. One of the most important parts to invention is analyzing your audience. This is similar to analyzing a target market, except that in the case of an informative presentation, your target audience will likely be the group of people who would most benefit from receiving your information, from you expanding their knowledge on a particular topic. When analyzing your audience, it's important to consider what it is that's going to motivate the audience to listen to you. Something that you should always consider is WIIFM, or what's in it for me. An audience is not really going to listen if they don't get a sense that you are providing them with something that they need. It's also important to consider context when developing a presentation. Consider the physical context of this assignment. You're working within the context of the web. You're developing something that people can watch over and over and over again. Consider the temporal context. You have 2 to 4 minutes in which to deliver this message. And consider the audience's psychological context. Again, go back to what it is that they actually need from you. What aspects of this topic do they need to know? Finally, consider demographics. Ask yourself, what specifically is this target audience like? What kinds of ideas would young people respond to? What about experts in the music industry? What about artists? Consider your audience's demographical breakdown. Next time, we'll cover how to choose and narrow down your topic, as well as discussing the differences between informing and persuading.